Yeah. So what we'll do now, uh, before starting with MSBI, we'll understand what BI is in general, what business intelligence means. Okay.
Yeah.
So okay. So here I have given some definition here what BI is. Okay. So we know, right? These days, I don't need to emphasize on the importance of gathering data. Right? You all know. So gathering data is an essential part of any operation, any business flow. Without data, now even the basic apps, small instruments may also not work properly. Right? So data gathering is everywhere. There was a time where only people used to concern about the memory consumed by lines of code. Okay, they used to optimize code so that the code number of lines doesn't take much disk space, because those were the days where disk storage was expensive. But now we are living where hot disk space is so cheap now, right? Everything is on cloud or on disk is very cheap. So data gathering has become a common practice by every application, whether it be a high-end ERP application, yeah, okay, enterprise Intellect app, or a very basic your mobile app. Even a simple Compass app also has gathering some information like what locations you are going and where at what times you are using that app, and then it is posting back to the developer so that he can enhance that app, right? Now the challenges, like, okay, you stored the data, now your disk space is free, is cheap, so you can go and comfortably store how much ever data you want. But how do you make use of it? Right? You need to have a efficient technology, efficient framework, so that you can get 100% benefit out of whatever the data you are storing. Else there is no point of storing data. Right? So what I have given here, I have given some areas, specific areas where actually BI applies. Okay. So BI life cycle. So now we are talking about BI life cycle. BI life cycle starts by gathering data. Okay, that's the first point. So we keep collecting data. So collecting data involves what? At the very first stage, what we should do? We should take only meaningful data, right? Only the data which matters to us. May not
Yeah.
be highly important data. Okay, you have like little tendency, but still it should be relevant to your system, right? Okay, so what we do, we gather the data, at the same time we clean and we take only meaningful data which is relevant to our system. Okay, so
Sure.
that's the first stage. Then now whatever the data that we have gathered, that needs to be stored, and it should not, it's not like, you know, you go and put data wherever you have space, and then at the end of the day when you want to retrieve, you have to go and search where you have the data. It becomes very tedious. Now what you have to have is, you have to have an effective model here. So when you store data, you may be getting an idea, like you have some tables, you create some tables and you insert data into that. Okay, so what more we can do there? Like, just we can create tables and then we insert data. If we don't want the data, we delete data. We want any, we have to do any modifications, then we will run update statements. No, actually here is a trick. So when you are creating those tables, there should be some relations among these tables. S- Uh, ta- Similar, I mean, the data which comes under a category should be stored in specific tables, so that when you are going further and getting data from these tables, it becomes easy for you to identify what tables has what data and what table is related to what table, which data is having integrity and which is not. So to understand all of that, there should be a model. In industry terminology, this is a model which is called as data warehouse or dimensional model. Okay, so
Yeah. Yeah.
this need to be created before we actually begin with BI cycle, and then whatever the data that we gathered and after cleaning will be stored in this model. Okay, so this data warehouse will has two primary objectives. One is for effective storage of data, right? So you collect data from since your inception of your company. okay, maybe 10 years data, 15 years data, okay, you have everything at one place. So that is storage of data. And second thing is you have to represent this data. So for making use of this data, you have to represent this data. So your data warehouse is again a base for querying the data. So one is storage and other is representation. Then we have many other features also, like it provides effective security to your data and integrity. So there are many things, uses of data warehouse. I'm not going into details of that, but yeah, so we have data warehouse in the BI lifecycle. Now there are data transformations. So this data transformations positioning can be tricky. So sometimes it can be involved, we can involve this after cleaning. After cleaning we'll have data transformations and then we load data into data model, or we do some transformations and then we send data to an external system. So data transformation is like
Applying the
center
business
house.
rules.
Yeah, it's like the center point of your BI life cycle. So whatever the transformations, like you have data coming from three systems, okay, but say that you have three selling points, okay. Now the data coming from these three selling points, we don't want to store them separately in three tables because all those three are sales transactions. So we have to club them and then store it in one location, right? So there is an issue with one of the terminal. So some of the records are not getting populated correctly. Some of the information is missing. So what you do, you take data from the first two systems, systems which are working properly.
Yeah.
Just a minute. Yeah. So what you do, you take data coming from the first two systems, and the data coming from third system, you know that there is some data missing. So what you will do, you may look at MDM, your master data management, or some third party application, or some of your saved data, and then you try to fill that data. And then ultimately you have to load complete data, right? Which is if, which is effective, and there are no gaps in it, which can be represented perfectly. So so that is one of the transformations. So we look up for the data, we then apply the standardizations. So in some countries they write first name and then last name, okay. In
Yeah.
some countries last name is written in the first and first name is written in the last. So but when you are storing it in a central warehouse, you can't store, you know, in different formats, because it's the end of the day, it's a single table. So you have to apply name standardizations, mobile number standardizations, okay. So like this there will be n number of transformations. So these are like the transformations which are domain specific, which are subjective, okay. There can be business needs also. So user will tell you, okay, merge this, split this, and join this. So like that we'll have n number of transformations that need to be incorporated. So this is actually takes a good section of BI life cycle, okay. So then once we pass those transformations, then once we have stable data, okay, 100% accurate data, then we go and think of representing the data. So that's the end objective actually. So that's the end part of your BI life cycle. We have one more, but most of the practices will stop here itself. Data representation. So what they'll do, they'll have a reporting tool, they will build dashboards from your data warehouse, reports, analytics, and then publish it to the consumers, okay, report consumers, decision makers like your VPs or analysts or floor supervisors, whoever, okay. In some scenarios, some of the companies, huge infrastructure companies, what they will do, they will go and create multi-dimensional models. In short, they're called as cube. They'll create multi-dimensional models for better analytics, for better storage of data, and for fast retrieval of data. So they go and they do that, they do data mining and then data statistics, all that. So that those are the advanced phases, optional part of your BI life cycle. But these are the only areas, or this is the exclusive list of areas that are covered in BI life cycle, okay. Now this is enough, okay. This is enough. You have good idea of now what BI is. Now where actually MSBI fits in this process, okay, in all these points. So there are only few tools out in the market which supports all these functionalities. So we are talking about what? We are talking about data transformation, data representation, and then data analysis. So there are only few tools which are covering all of this.
Mm-hmm.
MSBI
Yeah.
is one such tool.
Mm.
Okay, MSBI has SSIS, SSRS, and SSAS, three components.
Mm.
Three components for these three parts. Which component handles which part, I'll tell you later. Okay, but for now, all the three will have each own designated responsibility, and then they cover BI life cycle, entire BI life cycle. Likewise, we have another tool called OBI, Oracle Business Intelligence, competitor of MSBI. So, and then there's Pentaho, which also open source technology, which has all three capabilities. And then we have area specific players like Informatica. Informatica only cares about data transformation. It's all about data transformation. Okay.
Mm.
Then we have data stage, IBM data stage, which is also for data transformations.
Mm.
Cognos MicroStrategy for representation, only reporting tools.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Okay. So like that, you have area specific tools. Then there are tools which covers all the three. So
Mm.
learning MSBI is very good because in future, if you want to branch out, like you want to only go into data transformations, you can, because you have knowledge. If you want to go only for reporting, yeah, you can do that because now you're learning SSRS, then you can go with Power BI and then go to data analytics, advanced analytics. Or you want to go into multidimensional modeling, then you have SSAS. So what we say, MSBI is like MPC in intermediate. In PUC, if you take MPC, then your parents will say, right, you have lot many options. So go take MPC, don't take any other branch, right? So it's
Mm-hmm.
like that.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So these are three tools of MSBI, IS, RS, and AS. So IS functionalities. So IS in industry terminology is also called as an ETL tool, extract, transform, load. This is for doing transformations, like I told you in the previous slide, transformations. Then representation is for SSRS. So SSRS is a short for SQL Server Reporting Services, with which we can create these
Sorry,
things.
SSIS is ETL, is it?
Yes, correct.
Okay.
IS is ETL, RS is for reports,
Mm-hmm.
and AS is
Yes.
for data cubes.
Okay, analysis.
Okay, advanced
Mm. Oh, okay.
part of MSBI.
Okay, okay.
Okay. So what I'll do now is I will tell you um, how MSBI is applied in an organization. Okay, in an organization, how BI is actually, how is BI practice is implemented, and where MSBI fits in that flow. Okay. See, whether you have a small organization or a multi-level multinational company, okay, collecting data in one form is never possible.
Mm. True.
You have to have on-go technology. I mean, technology should be always enable you to do your business without any hiccups, without any gaps, without any hurdles. Technology should not give you any restrictions like, okay, you have to store in like in this format only, in this location only, in this structure only. Okay, it's up to you. You store data whatever way you want. It's all that your business should not break and there should not be any lag. It should keep running 24/7. Okay, as per your model. Now in that process, what happens is the IT guy headache starts because now what customer will do is he'll keep storing data wherever he wants. So if you talk about McDonald's, okay, if you take just regular McDonald's, so stores that are set up in rural areas or an express, order and carry stores, what they'll do for them, maybe recording those transactions in Excel files might be easy. Or the guys who are supplying goods to the stores might be recording the data in Excel files. Okay, so the automatic teller machines, okay, like the kiosk systems may generate flat files, system files, okay, without any technology, not flat files. At the end of the day, they may generate some mission files with all the automated transactions. If you are setting up in a decent city, okay, with a good infrastructure, maybe you have a computer and then a data operator who can enter data and all, then you may have an RDBMS like Oracle or SQL Server or anything. Okay. If you have services, online services also, you may receive orders online from internet. Then there is data coming from web services or in your headquarters. Okay, so your centralized system, you may have a ERP solution, PeopleSoft or SAP. Okay, even there data is getting, maybe there much sophisticated data may get recorded and much more depth data like your entire payroll data or human resources data and infrastructure data, how many chairs you have, how many computers you have, all that, infrastructure related data. You may have huge amount of data at your headquarters, so you may employ ERP like SAP or PeopleSoft. Oracle has acquired a lot many ERP systems like Oracle, PeopleSoft and JD Edwards. Okay, fine. So my point is, even if you say after a certain point you standardize, then you say that okay, in one technology you keep gathering all the data. Sometime later you may merge with another organization and they have a different software, different way of collecting data. Then again you end up with same story, data in different forms. Okay. So now I'll tell you the challenge. So if tomorrow somebody want to know the variance of sales from this quarter to last quarter, what is the difference between the sales variance this quarter and last quarter? Same year, same quarter, previous year. Now the data coming from one system shouldn't give you one number and data coming from other system shouldn't give you different number, right? So we should have always one number reported. How is that possible? Only when you have all of this data in one single position, one single point, right? You can't go and fetch data whenever you want from these systems. And even if you do that, different systems may give you different results,
Yeah.
which is not correct. So you should have a centralized system, one system where you can fetch, store all of this data. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Now, with that objective, your first part of BI lifecycle starts. So what you will do, you will write some ETL packages, ETL solutions. ETL solutions, what they have is they have inbuilt drivers, say for now when I say you may get confused when I say drivers. So what you say is, what you think of is ETL have inbuilt scripts which can talk to any type of data point. They have n number of scripts, numerous scripts. So if your input is Excel, okay, it will apply Excel script. If your input is a text file, it will apply text script. If your input is in from a website, it will apply HTTP protocol script. Okay, so like that, it has huge amount of scripts, so which can talk to any kind of data. Okay, and then we can do some transformations, extract, transform, and load.
Mm-hmm.
Loading into what? Loading into a temporary area called a staging database. Okay, we'll load into a staging database, and from there again we write an ETL. Now one single ETL which will take care of taking this data from the staging and then putting in data warehouse, which will be your single source of truth. So in some organizations it is called operational data source, ODS, or data mart, or data warehouse, or data layer. So people may call it in different areas. Yeah. So ultimately the end objective is to have a unified single source of data collection point. Okay. Now once this ETL moves data into this data warehouse, what it will do is it will clean up the staging. So staging may have at max 7 days data, or sometimes just 1 day data, or in some scenarios 1 month data. Your data warehouse will have huge collection of data, timeline. Okay. Now this is your first phase. So now once you have data in data warehouse, now a customer will not set ideal, right? So now the desire increases. Now once you have the data here, we want to represent it. We want to show this data to the decision makers. So we need to do reporting. So for that, what we will do, we will take data from data warehouse. So and build reports. With that, what happens? Our reports will be always showing single numbers unless you screw it up, but always will show same number for the query. Okay, because you don't have now data in different systems. You have one single system and data always coming from that system. Okay, so all your reporting needs can be accomplished from this data warehouse single server. This is how in industry data warehouse is implemented. Okay, so you can stop here or you can go. Sorry, just a minute. Or you can go and build multi-dimensional models, which are also called cubes, for even effective analysis, analytics, and can do reporting from there. Okay, so you can build analytics again from cubes, multi-dimensional models. So this is two-dimensional. Data warehouse is two-dimensional. Why is it two-dimensional? Because it's in rows and columns, right? A cell can be identified by a row and a column, right? So you want a particular transaction agent name. Who has done the transaction? I want that agent name. Okay, so what you have to do, you have to go with transaction number. That is your row. And you have to look in agent column. That is your column. So the intersection will give you that transaction agent name. So that is your two-dimensional model. Likewise, you can, opposite to that is your multi-dimensional. You can take data from here and you can have any dimensions. You can have agent name, you can have customer name, customer information, agent information, product information, timeline,
Time dimension.
yeah, any promotions applied. All of this you can merge with sales data and can create a cube. Any number of dimensions you can have in one single cube. But here, if we want, say, customer data, you may have to go to customer table. You want product data, you have to go to product table, like that. In two-dimensional, we have to have multiple tables. In cube, we can have all of them in one place. So, but this is advanced. Okay, so this is your BI life cycle. In any organization, this is how it works. Okay. Even if you have just a website, front-end website, nothing else, even that website also needs some data at one point. Okay, so
True.
yeah, so yeah, just a minute. Okay, yeah, so now I'll tell you where MSBI fits in this cycle. So these are the this is how BI is covered, MSBI is covered. SSIS will take care of moving data from different forms of files, different data points, and loading into stage, and from there to data warehouse. So this is the role of IS, Integration Services, ETL. SSIS, we can build cubes, multi-dimensional models. And then with SSRS, reporting services, we can build dashboards, visualizations, analytics, KPIs, drill downs, drill paths, all that. Okay. So we and using SSRS, we can build reports either from databases, two-dimensional models, or multi-dimensional models. Source can be anything. Okay. Relational, multi-dimensional. So this is MSBI. So you guys got any doubt here? Any doubts here? I think because I am finished with this slide show.
Okay.
So we are discussing the scope of BI, business intelligence in an organization, and where MSBI fits exactly. Okay. So did you follow this slide?
Yes, I did. Thank you.
Okay. You already have experience on hello.
Hello. Yes, experience.
Okay. 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 So is that into BI or?
Not. I've been working on SSRS and a little bit of SSIS.
Okay. Okay. So you already have working experience on this. Okay. So what I'll do now, I'll show you tools which are. So when you install MSBI, okay, you will get this SQL Server data tools. Okay. So this is called IDE, Integrated Development Environment. Okay. From this is where we develop solutions, all MSBI solutions. So in the meantime, what I'll do, okay, anyways, I wanted to do this, so I'll tell you the I'll give you the overview of technology stack of MSBI.
Okay.
So how MSBI works is, so first we need to have Windows operating system. Okay, so not any other operating system. We have to have Windows OS. You can have client like Windows 7 or Windows 10, or we can have server software, Windows Server OS, 2012, 2014 server, like that. On top of Windows OS, we need to have .NET framework. .NET framework. Okay. Now sometimes what happens is along with the OS you'll get .NET framework, sometimes you don't. Then you have to go and explicitly put it. But .NET framework is free.
Okay.
Now after you have these two, then you have to install SQL Server database. SQL Server database. This is also from Microsoft. Okay, all MSBI is from Microsoft. So SQL Server database. Now SQL Server database has a tool with it called SSMS, SQL Server Management Studio. Then we have MSBI. Which is short for Microsoft Business Intelligence. And data tools as a supporting application, just like SSMS is supporting application. Now when you install SQL Server database, you have this MSBI package along with it, along with SQL Server as an additional component for free, just for free. If you want, you can install MSBI. If you don't want, you can ignore it. You can just put your database. Okay, so MSBI, Microsoft Business Intelligence, comes free along with SQL Server database. So that is one of the biggest plus points for MSBI. No other BI tool is free out in the market, which is covering all three. Okay, a company backed. So, but again, don't get confused that MSBI is completely free. You still got to purchase SQL Server database. Without purchasing SQL Server database, we don't get MSBI. Okay. Now sometimes you may get that out. So if I purchase SQL Server database, can I just go and install MSBI without SQL Server database? I may use some other database, Oracle database. But I'm so fond of MSBI that I want to put it, so I'll go and purchase SQL Server. Can I just put MSBI then? No. We have to install SQL Server database. Only then we can install MSBI. Now once you have MSBI, you can use any other database. You can get data from any other database, you can load data to any other database, you can work with any other database, but SQL Server is must and should for MSBI. Okay. Now what you see in the backend, in the background, is called data tools, okay, on which we develop MSBI solutions, all three, IS, RS, AS. All three tools we develop on MSBI. All three tools of MSBI we develop on data tools. Okay. Now likewise for SQL Server database we have SSMS. Okay, which is a query tool, developer management tool, which is this SQL Server Management Studio. Using this, you can manage your database, creating tables, creating database, inserting data, applying security, creating user logins, all that. Okay, Windows Server. So these are databases. We have different databases here. Then we can query data from those databases or insert data. So this is for data management. We may not do much here, much of the activity here. Yeah, we may come here from time to time to look at the data, to query the data, to create queries, SQL queries. But our objective is not to learn databases. Okay, so this is a helping tool. We'll be spending most of our time on this tool, data tools, on which we can create MSBI. Just a minute. Yeah. So now how do we begin? So we have to go like this: File, New, Project. Once you click these three, you get set of templates, standard set of templates, from which you can choose which solution you want to build. Like if you're doing SSAS analysis services, then you will select analysis services. You have multiple templates. Integration, this is where we write ETL solutions, build ETL packages. Okay, so that is for IS, SSIS. Similarly for reporting RS, SSRS, all three we have single point of development platform. Okay. So now what I'll do, I will, hello?
Yeah,
Yeah.
you have, the instructions to download, this data tools, because
Yeah. Actually, so up to 2014, what they used to do is they used to bundle all of these things in one single download, like your MSBI database and data tools.
okay.
But
But
now they're giving us separate packages. So this is 2016, okay, very stable standard. So you can go and download evaluation edition of 2016. Okay. So because it has everything, all IS, RS, everything. Then once you download, during the installation, after you complete the installation, then again you come, it will ask you whether you want to install data tools or not. If you click data tools, again it will go and download data tools. It will download data tools.
do you have any instructions, like how to
Mm.
actually install 2016 and then MSBI?
Do we have
Yes.
steps which you are going
Yes,
to
yes,
share with
we
us?
have. I can share those steps with you. So you can download and then you can set it up. So setting up MSBI is very simple, very easy. Okay, so it's user friendly installation. I do have
Because
steps.
2014, but I didn't see any data tools.
Yeah, up to 2008 we had bits.
But
In
2014,
2014,
yeah.
2014 onwards, 2012 onwards actually, what they did, uh, 2012 they did lot of improvements, lot of changes, and they gave data tools. In 2014 there were no much changes, but data tools we still had, but it used to come as a single bundle, single package. So
Okay.
data tools, SSMS, MSBI, database, everything. Now these two tools, this SSMS for querying your database and this data tools need to be separately downloaded from 2016 onwards. Okay. Yeah, I'll give you a little idea of that also, how it all started. So actually, we have some time now, so I can tell you that. It all started in year 2000. In 2000, MSBI started as DTS. So sometimes in some interviews, if they ask you, do you know what DTS is? Nothing but data transformation services. Plain ETL, simple ETL, just ETL operations. Okay, that's how it started. So they used to supply this with database, SQL Server database. Okay, so this went for some time, and finally in 2005 they released MSBI. Now MSBI, what they did, DTS, they renamed it to SSIS and they enhanced it much better. It's a much better version of DTS. So, but formerly this was DTS. And then they added reporting capabilities and then SSAS. All three, 2005. Then we had a release in 2008. There were some issues, so immediately within no time they have released 2008 R2, which was very stable and very popular, instant hit in the market. Okay. Then we had 2012, then 2014, then 2016. You know what we are working on. Okay. So every edition. So this is why MSBI is still in the market. So though it started in 2000, almost 16 years back. See, for any technology, for any software to be in market and to be relevant, to be competitive, it should always keep updating itself. It may be a great product today, but if it don't keep renovating it, if it don't get updating it, it will perish eventually in the market. Because you see now in IT how competitive it is. Every day we are getting a new technology, new update, right? So MSBI is doing that. Every alternate year they are doing improvements in this technology. They are making it better and better. Okay, so that it is competitive in the market. Ultimately, it is backed up by a huge corporation, right? Microsoft is a huge corporation. It's backed up Microsoft. They can make, so that's why even if they give it for free, they have that, they want that monopoly. Like, I mean, they want that. In database field, they need to be there in every area of IT. So they, if they think that they are losing grip, they can give any kind of package. So just take it for free and go use it. Okay, so yeah, this is enough.